Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about tips for writing a cover letter for a faculty position application. In America, the faculty hiring process begins about a year before the position start date. Most people start in the fall, that is either at the end of August or early September. Thus, the position starting date are usually around the time of the year. The job market opens around August and runs until sometime in spring semester. This video will help you immensely whether you plan to apply in the future or are already in the process of applying. The two most important elements in your application are your curriculum vitae, CV or resume, and your cover letter. For the most search committee, the cover letter is the first thing they screen, followed by the CV, recommendation letters, writing samples, and other supporting materials. Some might look at the CV first and then move to the cover letter only if the applicant is well qualified. This is why these two documents are critical. I'm going to focus on the cover letter in this episode and talk about composing your CV in a future post. There are a lot of applicants who have credentials that would make them the best candidate for the position, but they often miss their chance because of how they wrote their cover letter. Most search committee members take about 30 minutes to review an application, but they will only look at the whole application if the cover letter is compelling. If it is not, they will generally take less than 5 minutes to skim the CV and or other application materials before they move to the next applicant. Your cover letter is your first sales pitch and should be written compellingly. Consequently, your cover letter should have the highlights of your CV. So if you are stumped about how to write your cover letter compellingly, there are plenty of examples and sources online. Basically, your cover letter states your research experience, your research topics or areas, your teaching experience, intended teaching areas, and contact information at the bottom of the letter. Your cover letter should be no longer than 2 pages. In this video, I will cover a few basics about writing your cover letter for a faculty position. Number 1, stay away from cliches. One of the most common mistakes applicants make is using a cliched terms. This tip itself is already a cliche, but I cannot stress it enough. The very purpose of a cover letter is to give the search committee a peek into what you can do as a scholar and a teacher. So it is more about showing and less about the telling. Using cliches decreases the credibility and originality of your cover letter. You want to show your exceptional writing skills, and using cliches will not do so. Adjectives are the most overused cliches. It is okay to use them once or twice in your cover letter. So words such as critical, statistical, analytical, etc. are good adjectives for describing your research or your teaching, but don't overuse them. Methodological jargon is also okay to use, but does not really help your cover letter. Jargon often sounds vague and general. If you want to showcase your teaching skills in words, provide concrete and specific examples instead of using terms like a communicative approach or interactive brainstorming, etc. Refrain from using vague statements to describe your teaching as well. So take this for example. My lectures are very interactive and evenly paced. Or I give students the opportunity to be participative. Or I make sure students have the equal amounts of prep time. These are cliches and are what is expected of every teacher. Be more specific instead. For example, I memorize all of the students' names and faces by the first week of the semester and often call their names to ask their thoughts on other students' response. Or I often use an in-class exercise such as a role play to make learning more entertaining. Again, give concrete and specific examples of the things you do differently and do not cite common approaches most teachers take. Number 2, organize your content. The length or the number of words you use in the cover letter is much less important than the content you put it in. Before formulating your cover letter, make sure you have your content organized and that you thoroughly read the job posting. So one of my earlier episodes covers how to read job postings. If you have not watched that episode, a link to it is available in the description section. Job postings usually list the traits, credentials, and qualifications an institution is looking for in an applicant. Understanding these will help you formulate your cover letter to address what they are looking for. Organize your content to make sure you highlight qualifications that would give you an edge. For instance, if a job post requires someone with the ability to get funding, your cover letter should highlight the grants or fellowships you have received. If you have not received a grant, then highlight any grant-related activities you have participated in or fundraising you have done. One way to organize the flow of your letter is to describe your accomplishments chronologically. This shows how you have grown from a scholar to an educator. Another way is to organize by category. You can put teaching experience in one section and research experience in another. Number 3, cultivate a professional persona. The last thing a search committee wants to read is a desperate sounding cover letter. It only shows your lack of confidence and makes your listed credentials doubtful. This is why your tone is crucial. You ultimately want to sound professional and sure about what you can bring to the table. That being said, skip the dramatics when you are writing your cover letter. The search committee doesn't want to read about feelings, emotions, theatrics about your dreams. Avoid phrasing such as, I have dreamed of being a professor since I was a kid. Or, I grew up with low self-esteem and being a professor will make me feel confident about myself. You can cite your future dreams and goals professionally so long as they will serve as a contribution to the school. A professional persona means knowing the limits of the research paragraph. Even though you want to talk about your research in great detail, summarize it in 5 or fewer sentences that even people outside your field can understand. Professionally written cover letters provide insightful information instantly. Your professional persona will showcase your work's value and substance without sounding desperate or arrogant. 4. Tailor your cover letter according to a job posting and a school type. Each faculty position may vary in its required qualifications depending on the department or type of institution. If you're applying to a research-oriented institution, your research-related statement should come first, followed by the teaching component. Likewise, if you are applying to a teaching school, your teaching-related statement should come first. Avoid sending the same templated cover letter to every school. Also, if the job post specifies someone with more research experience over teaching experience, you can place less emphasis on your teaching experience and include more information on your research experience. You can include your teaching experience if it is relevant to what they are looking for. For instance, if you taught a class about basic research skills. There is no official step-by-step process of writing a cover letter. It depends on what the position requires. However, there are best practices that are applicable to all. Stay away from cliches, organize the letter content, cultivate a professional persona, and tailor the letter to what the position requires. Keep these basics in mind, and your cover letter will be much more compelling. Do you have any other tips for writing a compelling cover letter? If you do, please share them in the comment section below. I hope the contents I covered in this video was beneficial to you. If so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. My next video will cover tips for preparing your CV. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.